everyone, and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And Kiki and I are here to welcome you to a brand new year. Happy New Year's Day, January the 1st, 2026. I almost forgot that I had to change Kiki, and I was really sad to take off her Christmas outfit because it is our very favorite one. But I like January as well. So we'll put her up here out of the way to watch over things. She definitely has to get up there out of the way because I am swarmed with yarn and projects and project bags, and I have so much to cover today. I suspect that I will have to cut it before I finish everything. So that's how much I have to talk about today. But first of all, I want to start by ending off the Christmas season because I received a few more Christmas cards and I want to acknowledge them before we move on with the new year. So, starting with this Christmas card, I received Merry Christmas, Sparkle and Glitter. You know I like that. And this is from Christmas, a heartfelt Christmas wishes of peace and happiness this holiday season from Kathy. Then I received a card, and I'll have a little bit more in a minute, but here is a card I thought was very appropriate. She could find a Mona Lisa with a cat. And this is a postcard that came from Lillian, who actually lives in Singapore, but this particular card came to me from Paris. So thank you very much, Lillian, for remembering me when you were busy on your vacation. And next, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And this comes to me from Adam in the UK. Thank you very much, Adam. And finally, we have another one again with some sparkle on it and a Christmas tree. And wishing you a joyful holiday and a peaceful new year. And this comes from Josephine. Thank you, Josephine. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Lillian. And of course, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate every one of you, as well as I appreciate all of you that sent me cards that I was able to show before Christmas. And it really makes me very happy to be part of this community. You are all so very kind and very caring. Now, another note, Lillian is the viewer that I've been mentioning for a bit that sent me a Christmas gift. And I was notified that there was a gift coming from Etsy. And I'm going to show you that now. I got things piled on things, so I'm going to have to take a break to move things in a bit. The seller on Etsy was actually in Poland, and I have never ordered from this Etsy vendor before. I don't know what you call them. I guess they're vendors. And this is somebody that makes the gradient cakes. I've looked at them many times. I found that the shipping on some of these can be very, very expensive, and I haven't ordered. But she ordered me some gradient cakes. I think we're kind of hung up here. See if I can separate. I'm going to show you. They are from Vol Amour is the actual Etsy store owner, and I will link it in the description box below so if you are interested in checking them out. But look at this. This is the first one. You know me well, me and my sparkles. Greens to, I don't know, a rusty orange, and then to a brown. And there is I would say it's actually in the green, the metallic is green. But when you get out to the other colors, it's kind of a coppery color. So that's the first one. These were all in little bags. I took them out. They were wrapped in ribbons and everything. They all have a center pole with I didn't show you the charm on that one. See the charm. I don't want to take too long on everything I do, or we'll be here till tomorrow. It's late after supper when I'm recording this. The next one has, isn't that a pretty charm? Isn't that a pretty charm? And here we have my blues and purples. Not sparkly this time. I love the colors though. Very, very pretty. Makes me think of an ocean, of the water here in the center. And then finally, I have to say this is my favorite. And again, it has a charm, but this time it's purple rather than blue little gemstones. And look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Starts with a navy with blue sparkle filament. Then the navy actually goes into black. And I think the sparkle filament that starts there is a pinky purple. Then it goes into dark purple and a lighter pinky purple. And then I'm pretty sure we're at black again. Now you can really see it's purple here, but in the black, it goes to gold. I've never had one where they actually changed the blending filament as you went. So, Vul Amour, and it came from Poland. And those are very beautiful, Lillian. And thank you so much for thinking of me. You're very, very generous. And that is a lovely gift. Now I'm just going to move this box over here out of the way because I have so many other things to show you and tell you. So that was Christmas. Still in the line of Christmas. I'll just tell you briefly. I went on the 24th, the afternoon of the 24th, I went to my brother's. My brother lives about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half away from me. And I went there, and he and his wife and I, the three of us, then went to our niece. She's about 25 minutes back towards me. Just moved into a new house this summer. And she was the one that hosted our whole family. There were 10 of us in total. That's the whole family. She hosted us Christmas Eve. Then I went back to my brother's and I stayed there until Boxing Day. And I came home on Boxing Day. Very nice few days. Had a pleasant time, great meal, great company. And weather for traveling was fine. It did rain on Boxing Day, but it stopped when I was traveling home. So I was very lucky there. And it wasn't freezing rain or anything like that. So very pleasant drive both directions. Now I'm not sure, I had somebody tell me that they would be very happy to see some cookies instead of yarn for a change, because I was doing a lot of baking before I set out on this holiday. And I thought, well, I'm not going to sit and show a whole lot of cookies. But I did take one picture of one of the platters. I made 3 different platters of cookies to take out of the house. I kept a few, but not very many. And here is the picture of one of the platters I'm going to show you. And I'm going to leave it up there long enough that you can see a couple of little arrows that are pointing towards cookies that are called peanut butter balls, because another person said, maybe you could share one of your Christmas recipes with us. So I'm not going to write it down. If you are very interested, this is simple and you can write it down for yourself. I'm pointing to the peanut butter ball. So if you have peanut allergy, this is no good to you. This is a simple recipe I make almost every time I want to make cookies. First of all, you need a bowl, a big, and I mean a big bowl. And in that bowl, you're going to, and I meant to bring the boxes just to be sure that Canada and US may call them different, but you're going to put 4 cups of cornflakes, plain cornflakes. I think we all have cornflakes. 4 cups of cornflakes and 2 cups of Rice Krispies. You know, Snap, Crackle, Pop Rice Krispies. 2 cups of that. But I would go light on the 2 cups. If you get too many Rice Krispies, they don't hold together very well. So I often put a little less than the 2 cups. You put them in a bowl, put them aside. On the stove, you're going to measure 1/3 a cup of sugar, just plain white sugar, and 1/3 a cup of corn syrup. You're going to mix them and you're going to bring them up till they're bubbling. You keep heating it until they're bubbling and make sure they have a good bubble. Then once they're heated up, you're going to stir in a cup, 1 full cup of peanut butter. I tend to do the crunchy peanut butter, but it doesn't matter which. And a nice full cup of peanut butter, you're going to mix it in to the sugar and corn syrup. You're going to mix it real well so it's nice and smooth. So don't be afraid to keep mixing it for a bit of time. That's all the ingredients. Once you've mixed that in real well, you're going to pour it over the cereal and mix it good. And mix it good and mix it fast, because you know that hot syrup, once you put it over the cereal, it's going to start to harden, and you want to get it mixed real well into the cereal mixture. And then of course you're going to, with your hands, although that syrup is a bit hot, you're going to take out handfuls of the cereal, form it into a ball, and I usually sit it on parchment paper or plastic wax paper, whatever, on the counter. And it might try to fall apart at first, but just push it back together. When it hardens, it'll stick. But you're going to quickly get it out before it hardens in a big ball in the bowl. I find it a fairly easy recipe, and it is well liked. So there you go. There's my Christmas recipe for you. Now, before I get into any of the business today, I want to tell you that I'm going to collect pictures of the items you made in the roll of the dice. So if you participated, and I know there weren't a lot of you, but some of you did participate in the roll of the dice, and some of you did the same pattern as me, and you did it properly. You did the right number of rows. I did far too many. But please send me your picture. But if you decided to do another pattern, and a few of you did tell me, I think you were having trouble with the pattern. I'm not sure what the story was. Some of you did do a different pattern, and feel free to send me a picture of that, telling me what the pattern is and the designer. And I need you to send me the pictures quickly. I need them by the 12th of January, because I will do a slideshow, a very quick slideshow of them on the 15th, which is 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, I'll show what all of you made during the roll of the dice. And enough of you said you really liked the idea, you'd like to do it again, that I'm thinking about maybe mid-March. I think maybe mid-March, I will bring the roll of the dice back again. I've started to look at potential patterns, and it'll take us through April, maybe a week into May. We'll see when we figure out what the pattern is. But I think I will do it again. I'm going to try and pick a slightly easier pattern than the last one. I'm thinking something just like a plain bias scarf or bias wrap that you can make whatever width you want. I'm thinking I'll do something like that. So if you did something and want to share your picture, get it to me right away. Maybe when you send it, put in the subject line, roll of the dice, so I can keep it separate from the items that come in for the mail, because within a few days I'll start getting mail pictures from some of you, since now you know you are working on something mosaic for this month in my monthly mail. And I'm sorry if some of you don't know how or don't like to do mosaic. I've never really done mosaic, but apparently if you go on YouTube and put in Biba Blanket mosaic, she has tutorials that explain it, very good tutorials, I'm told. I'm going to, actually tomorrow, I'm going to watch a few of them, and I'm going to get started right away. I'm going to do probably a scarf or a cowl, something fairly simple, and I hope that you will be willing to try something new. That's sort of my goal this year, is to do some new things. And you know, we need to have a challenge every now and then and not stay in our comfort zone, because I would make a shawl every month if you let me. But anyway, that's what we're doing for this month. Now, I've got notes over here because otherwise I won't remember all of the things that we have to do. Okay, I'm going to start with Stashdown. Every month, the first Thursday of every month, I do a Stashdown to show what I made the previous month. Well, I'm going to do Stashdown, and I'm going to expand it into what I accomplished this year. Hang on. So, I'm happy to report I finished 4 items this last month. You saw 2 of them yesterday. My items, I made 2 items for the December butterfly mal. The first one is Written in the Stars. I'm going to do these 2 quickly. You just saw them yesterday. So that's Written in the Stars, and it's a pattern by Rachel Nguyen. And as I told you yesterday, I altered the pattern somewhat. So that's one item I made, and I made it with yarn from my stash for sure. And I believe I told you the yarn yesterday. I used Black Cat yarn and Trilogy yarn. And the other thing for my mal is That Horizon. And again, yarn I've had quite a while. The blue is Pearlescent Fingering from EFA, Expression Fiber Arts. And the silvery gray is Moongleam Fingering, also from EFA. Again, I've had both of them for quite a while. And I'll just put them aside here. Then I also did, oh, it's over here. I've got way too much stuff here. I did an Agatha reading shawl. All of these 3 patterns I will link in the description box below, and then I'll backtrack. I realized I forgot something. Here is the Agatha reading shawl. And I did that out of Karen crystal cakes. I used a whole cake, and I was in the last row. I didn't have enough to finish the last row, and I couldn't take the last row out because it would have been a window row, and I wanted to end. See, it's every other, at the sides, it's windows and it's open. It's solid, and I wanted to end with the solid row. So I had to go into this cake, and I did enough to get me all the way around. So I did take a bit out of the center of this crystal cake. So that's the third item I made. And that will go in the donation pile. I'm not sure which one at the moment. I have two that I'm donating to. And then finally, I made another blanket. I had a few days free before the end of the year, and I wanted to make something small because I couldn't start on the mal item yet. I didn't know what it was for January. So I made one more blanket. This is again made out of Bernat blanket patchwork. If you remember, I bought several colors of this very early last year. So I can't count this as Stashdown in the one that I'm participating in with Bridget because it was yarn purchased this year. But it's very pretty. I like the colors. So I made 4 items. 3 of them count in my Stashdown. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And then I wanted to give you a bit of, what's the word? A summary of what I did this year. And in the end, I'm pleased. At the beginning of the year, 2025, I had 3 whips that I brought forward from 2024, and I never touched them. So we'll be talking about them again. So those 3 UFOs in my book just sat there, nothing. But during the year 2025, I started 51 projects. I started 51 projects, and I only left 2 not finished. Well, one of those projects was this big blanket that I knew very well wasn't going to get finished. And I don't know if it'll get finished this year either, but there's 2 of the rows, and I'm working on a 3rd row to attach on it soon. So I'm bringing this out. It was hiding there for the part of the year, and I'm going to consistently make a concerted effort, even if it's just 1 day a week, to get this out and work on it, or maybe on weekends, or every time I finish a project, get this out and work on it for a couple of days, hair standing on end. So that's one that I didn't finish, and I knew it wouldn't get finished. That's one of the 51. And another one is one I started actually this month. A few weeks ago, I started something for a friend that asked me to make her something, and it didn't get done. December was a busy month, and I certainly didn't get everything done that I had planned for December. So I feel pretty good that only 2 items didn't get done this year. So 49 got finished. The one thing that did kind of bother me is I made a Make 9 page poster, whatever. I made a Make 9. I'm going to put it up here. That I made this Make 9 to work on for the coming year. And if I recall correctly, because I don't have the picture in front of me right now, I think I only finished 3 of them. I know I finished the one from Mariana Mueller, Riptide. I finished that. For the life of me, I can't remember what other 2 I finished. Now, there is one on there that I decided I wasn't going to do. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on the picture, because I will post the picture, I'm going to put a little dot or arrow by the 3 that I believe that I finished during the year. That's the one thing that disappointed me. I only did 3. I'd hoped to do a 4th one, get it done in the fall, and I never got around to getting it out. But like I said, there's one that I have no intention of ever doing. So that leaves me with 4 others. One I'm ambivalent about, but the others, I know one of them is EFA Loon. I will be talking about that in a little bit. So I'm not going to make another Make 9 page this year. And in fact, in the past, I've always set goals, and I brought out my goals, and I talked to you about what goals I accomplished in the past year and what goals I'm setting for the next year. Well, honestly, I don't think I did great on any of my goals this year, except that I did keep a record, and that was one of my goals. I have an app on my iPad where I do list every single project I start with a starting and ending date, a hook size, and pictures of the finished product. And I have been very good at keeping that up, and that helps me keep up project pages in Ravelry. Although I do know of one that I didn't get done. Sometimes I don't get the Ravelry done, but I try very hard. That's the only goal I can say that I kept this year. I didn't keep my Make 9. I didn't work at all on my cross stitch. That's why I'm not showing you. I'm not sure what other goals I had, but I know I didn't keep any of them. And I found myself at a couple of points during the year overwhelmed. I think because I put pressure on myself to get things done. I got to get this done. I got to get that done. I set deadlines. Of course, every month I had an item for the mail to make, but I got involved in other things. And I always feel the need to get so many things done each month. Why? I don't know. And if I don't get that many things done, who cares? And I looked back at the previous couple of years in my app, and 2 years ago, I got more things done in the year than I did last year or this year. Well, why is that? Well, one of the big things is this whole year and half of last year before 2024, I have been, as you know, responsible for the care of my friend. She had a major stroke at the end of May, and that had me at the hospital a lot, getting her to therapy regularly, taking care of business, closing out her apartment, selling her car, looking into nursing homes. I mean, there was a lot involved. So I need to stop worrying about how many items I get done. There's only so many hours in the day, and I had too many other responsibilities. So that was part of why I didn't get as much done in the last year and a half. But the other thing is, maybe one year I made a lot of smaller things like cowls instead of big shawls or wraps. Just might be that I'm making bigger things or smaller things. So I just decided, here goes. You didn't see me bring out the goals because I'm setting, here's my one goal. No goals this year. My goal is to relax and enjoy my craft more. I want to do it because I enjoy it. Do it because I can make things that give others happiness. I can donate, and that's helpful to other people. I just want to relax into my crochet and do what I can do. And when you hear me saying, I'm going to do this and this and this, tell me to stop. Take a step back. Just do what you can at the moment. Do what you enjoy. I need to enjoy the process instead of pushing myself to the end point. And you're going to see something later in this video that make you wonder, really, Judy, are you listening to your own words? But I am going to try. Even in what you're going to see, I'm going to try. So I really want to enjoy and relax into my crochet this year. So no goals. I will make as many things as I make. I will still continue to each month discuss what stash I used. I will do my Stashdown, but I don't have any lofty things. You must get 4 done every month or you must get 5 done. I will only show you what I made to keep an account of really what stash I am using. I want to see that I am shopping my stash. And you're going to see, when you see what's on the floor here in a minute, you're going to see how I am making a major effort to shop my stash. And that isn't a goal. That's just, I want to use the beautiful yarn that I have. And I look around and I say, oh, I forgot I had that. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Oh, that would make something nice. I really want to use this beautiful yarn, which is another lead into the point that I will not be making or buying near as much as what I bought in the past. So, no goals. Let's relax and enjoy the process. Now, I'm going to back up because I knew I wouldn't remember everything. I forgot to talk about what am I wearing. And you would have seen this same scarf a few weeks ago in red and green. And I said it looked like poinsettias. Well, now, does it look more like snowflakes? This, once again, is the Zurzuru shawl. You can see there is sparkle in there. And the yarn is from Ravenswood. And this is one of my favorite shawls. I always wear it bandana style. I don't wear shawls around my back too much. I really like the accent they become on an outfit. And this is very nice, soft yarn. I love the pattern, as you know. So I will link it down below. I forgot to mention that at the very beginning. And I'm looking over here at my notes before I get into the next major thing that we're going to cover today. The other thing I want to talk about is I mentioned briefly before Christmas that I'm going to start something new in the new year. Once a month, I'm going to do a live on the 3rd Sunday of the month at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we're going to, first of all, I want to show you with the help of a friend, I came up with a logo for it. I'm going to call it Conversations with Judy. And this is what you'll be looking for. Here's a picture. And that's the logo I'm using for the Sunday live shows. And I'm hoping they will be just that, conversations. I know I talked about, we might debate things, talk about various things. I'm really pretty excited about it. I have quite a number of topics in mind to discuss, and I have people lined up for probably the first 4 months of the year. And I'll tell you right now, I have, You know, I have some very good friends that are very supportive. So I will tell you that the very first live show of Conversations with Judy will occur on January the 18th, the Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's 11 o'clock over there on the West Coast and 7 o'clock in the evening in the UK. And on the first show, I have two guests, and that is Kathy from Yarn with Heart and Diane from My Pink Bathtub. When I was thinking about doing this, I certainly bounced my ideas off the two of them for a while, and they agreed to come on my very first show to get it started. And we're going to discuss the topic, and it will include a lot of things. We're going to discuss the topic, do you buy yarn for a specific project? Or do you buy your yarn when you see something you like, when, you know, out of the blue, or you see it on sale, or whatever? I know there's a lot of discussion about the pros and cons of both, and good reasons to do each of them, and how that leads to stash problems, and we'll discuss all of that in that episode. And hopefully, you know, they'll be around an hour at most. I don't want to keep you a long time. Hopefully we don't have big major debates that go on and on. But I am really excited, and I think you'll enjoy the conversation that we will have that first month. And I have people lined up already. Each month I'll tell you who's coming in the next month, but I already have February lined up and planned. And I'm pretty sure I have people for March and April, although I have not finalized anything with the other two people that have agreed to help me. And I have another person I think might also do something. And I'll be putting out a call for people to join me, and I'll talk more about that in the future. But I wanted you to remember and to hear a little bit more about it. I'll be reminding you again next week. So now, what am I going to do today? Well, this is, I thought, a good place to start for the year. You can't see it, but I did show you once that I have a unit of these kind of cubby holes. I have these cubbies, 6 of them, on a shelving unit, a cupboard over here in a closet. This was meant to be a 4th bedroom. There's a closet on this wall, and it sits in the closet. And then down the 2 side walls of the closet, I have pegboard. And on those on the pegboard, I have lots of pegs, and I have project bags hanging from it. I also have project bags across the unit. And somehow through the course of this past year, it used to be helpful because I would plan the mal for the month. If we were doing butterflies, I had 12 butterflies, pictures, and I picked the yarn ahead, and I had them ready. Well, this year, of course, we're not doing that. But throughout the year with all these empty project bags, I got a collection of project bags lining my floor. They did not all have whips in them. Some of them had whips, or UFOs as they turned out to be. But a lot of them just had yarn that I said, oh, I really want to make something out of that. And I put it in a project bag. And I decided that it was time to get all of these project bags out. And I had about 24 of them all around and making a mess. And I thought I need to organize them and be aware of what I have. And then hopefully I could start working through them. So I got the idea that I would number them and then throw the numbers also in a bag. And every month, I know this sounds like I'm pushing myself, but I'm not. I'm going to do it as I am ready. I'm not going to push myself. I will do one a month, I'm sure, maybe even two some months, because the only other responsibility I have every month is to do my mal. And most often I can do my item for the mal in the first week of the month. And I'm hoping the first week of the month I can pull out of this bag an item from my WIPS UFO pile and get that done. And that way I'll get all these bags cleared up and things that are hanging all over. And I'll get to some of the yarn that I really want to use and didn't know what I was going to do with it. And so today we're going to look at some of these projects that I have. We aren't going to get through it all. It's already 40 minutes into it, but we'll go for a little bit. And then next week we'll finish it up. But what I wanted to do was to start back to the 3 from last year that I put into this year and didn't even look at. I want to put them in the bag first of all. So I got myself a little bag here to put the numbers in. And I took some time the other day to label them all. There's a few that I didn't get to. I did not label that blanket. I am going to work on throughout the year. But I wanted to start back here. Here's the first thing that I started last year. I wanted to make a wrap, a black wrap. And I started it, was not happy with what I was doing, and I actually frogged it. And I have 2 cakes of this amazing lace from Lion Brand. It is very soft. It's 70% acrylic, 30% nylon. It is fingering weight. There are, they never do tell you how much. I think there's 1,000 meters in each one of these cakes. I have this in several colors. I do want to use them, but I really do want a black wrap. And I did take the time at the beginning last year or whenever I frogged it to find one. And I'm going to put a picture. I think it's called, well, here it is. I wrote it down. It's called Berry Bubblegum. Berry Bubblegum Wrap. And I've numbered this number 1. And I'm going to cut off this name. And I'm just going to put number 1 back on here. And here it says number 1, Berry Bubblegum. And I'm going to fold this up and put it in this bag. It's sitting right here beside the camera. So that's one item that didn't get done for 2 years now, and I really do want it, so it's in the bag. So I'll put this over here. Now you will remember these other 2. I was going to start these a year ago fall. This is an EFA pattern, and maybe you'll remember that I started it and I was really concerned because they said it uses all of these 2 cakes, or they were skeins hanks from EFA. And I am a loose crocheter. At the time I thought, oh boy, if it uses the whole thing, I'm going to run out. And this, I'll put a picture up here. And I have that rainbow of minis down here. I got to get them out and put them in order when the time comes. I really wanted to make it. I think it's beautiful. But if you remember me saying, I'm really worried I'll run out and I'm not sure what I'll do. And I went back to EFA. They no longer had these colors. And I thought, oh, well, will I go as far as I can? And if I run short, maybe I'll use gray as this is the main color in between all of those other colors. And I never did anything about it because I wasn't happy about it. And then later, much later, they brought the two colors back, and I was so excited they brought them back, and I got a second hank. I may only use a teeny bit of each one, which is fine, but now I have the complete kit with enough to make it, I'm sure. And this pattern is called Nua Nua. So this is number 2, and I will pin this number 2 onto the bag, although I do know which one this is. Number 2, Nua Nua. And I hope I will get to this one as well. And again, I folded it up and I put it in the bag over there, and it's going to sit down there. That's a big project. So when I dry it out, it might take me 6 weeks to make. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to fret about it. I'm going to enjoy the process. Now, there was another pattern at the same time as this. I started one and then I started the other, and it has charts, very confusing charts, but it has charts, and it's made with bamboo alpaca fingering, again from EFA. And I got started, and I don't know why I let it go. I guess because it took maybe a little more concentration than I had at the time. You have to remember, a year ago fall, Rose had just been moved from the hospital into the nursing home, and maybe my head wasn't in a good place during all of that. So there's the start of it. It's called Awakening. Again, it is an EFA pattern. I'm calling it number 3. So those are the 3 projects from 2024 that I started and never finished, and I really want to do them. So once again, there's the paper. I folded it up and put it in the bag, and it's over here. And I had to keep track of where I was, so I bought one of these things to do that. So those are 3 that I really, really hope get picked out of the bag. And when I pick them, I'm going to just take my time and enjoy doing them. I'll have my blanket I can work on the side for breaks. And of course, I have my diamond dots to work on as well. So now I'm looking for number 4. That's 5. Number 4. These are not in the best order because there are some that have been around longer than others. But then I thought, oh, who cares what number's on it? They're all getting mixed up in the bag, so just do it. I had picked out, I remember once last year sitting down and looking at patterns and trying to put yarn to it and thinking, okay, this will help me when I'm ready to do things. And some of it got done and some of it didn't. But here is one of the few, this is pearlescent worsted, pretty colors. It won't take long to do. It is a C.J. Brady called Triangularity, and I'm going to, I just called this number 4 as I picked them up off the floor. And that is, I think it's kind of smaller, like a triangular cowl. Triangularity by C.J. Brady. Hers, I find, work up quick, and being worsted, it's small amount of yarn, so maybe that'll happen in between some of these bigger ones. So that's number 4. And number 5, I've been wanting to do this pattern for quite a while. A number of you, I don't know how many, 2 or 3 anyway, have done this pattern, and I've wanted to do it ever since I first saw it. And I probably have 3 or 4 different yarns that I'd like to do it in. But at the time, I have 2 skeins of this, and the pattern I want to do is Falling Blossoms. And this is, I'm going to first fold it and put it in the bag. This is yarn from Miss Babs. I think it was gifted to me, but I don't remember who. The color is Tulipa, and it's alpaca, 70% alpaca and 30% silk, 800 yards, which means it is a lace weight. Yes, it says on it, lace weight. I will likely double it, although it's a fairly substantial lace weight, but I could do it in one skein if I did a single. I think I'll probably double it. I find lace weight a little bit thin, and that will give me 400 and 400, and I think it probably uses a little more than 400, maybe 500. So that's number 5. I was trying to find number 6, and I couldn't. So I'm going to go to what I see next. It doesn't matter if we don't do them in order. I don't see a number 6. Maybe I missed it when I was numbering things. This is number 7. I should have put this as the very first one. I have had this pattern sitting in UFO for years. I mean, years. It's called the Sugar Plum Shawl. I think I have shown this to you before in the past. It's in this circular case with the hole. It is one of those cotton gradient cakes. It has a chart. I'm into the repeat, but I think I told you I went to pick it up and do it once, and I found I had made a major mistake, and I had to frog it back a big section, and then I lost interest. But here's what it looks like. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I just love it. And I will go as far as the yarn goes. It's cotton, but the color is beautiful, and it's very likely going to be a shawl that I keep for myself. I'll put a picture up here of what it looks like. I'm putting pictures of everything, what the originals look like. What I'm using, of course, will change it. I'll put a picture up there of Falling Blossoms. A number of you have done that one. So, Sugar Plum Shawl, number 7. Oh, this is hard to... I don't care for this type of... Some people really like them. I don't. But there's Sugar Plum Shawl by Rachie Nguyen going in the bag. That's number 7. I have 8 and 9 down here, so I'll go with them. I don't know where 6 got to. Anyway, here's 8. Again, this is one where I just went through a bunch, and I came up with a pattern I wanted to do. I had not picked yarn for it, but when I was going through these the other day, I thought to myself, this simple stitch skinny scarf, and there are a lot of similar scarves like this, and I'm going to try a few of them. But when I was looking at it, I thought, oh, this is the yarn that Diane gave me for Christmas. And I thought, oh, that would be perfect, a single skein item. I love the colors, and I would definitely wear that color. So I'm going to do this with that yarn that Diane gave me. That so often people give you yarn and you never get around to using it for anything. So that's that yarn. Now, I'm going to be needing your help soon because I do not have patterns for all these yarns. What is this? Oh, here's number 6. Oh, yes. There was a new pattern came out not too long ago from EFA called Roses. It's a wrap. I really like it, and I'm thinking that I might make it more than once. Here's number 6. It's called Roses. It's a wrap, and I'm going to use this color, but it says it takes 3 skeins. And my 3rd skein is a slightly different color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put part on one end and part on the other end, and the 2 light ones in the middle. So it maybe looks like a border. I could put the darker one in the middle, but I think what I'm going to do is read carefully and see how much they say it uses. Split this in half, put half at each end, and then I can do as much as I want of these. If it gets too long, I can stop, put another border at the other end, and I won't have to worry about how much of each. So that is called Roses by EFA. I changed the name here, but it does say Roses by EFA. And fold that and put it in there. So that was number 6. Then we did 7 and 8. Now we have number 9. And then I think after this, I don't have patterns with the others. So this next one is called Thankful. Again, put the picture up here. It's a pattern by Karen Hooley. And Karen Hooley has a number of patterns where they're very, very plain, but they have a nice lace border. And I am going to do these 2 colors. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to do this as the plain part and put this as the border on it. I still have time to change my mind, but that is my thinking. Those 2 colors. And this is that really pretty one with the 3 different colors of metallic going through it. Anyhow, so that's called Thankful, number 9. I'm going to be busy this year. I would like to get one of these done each month, but again, I'm not pressuring myself for that to happen. I will dip into this bag whenever I finish my monthly mail or any commitments I have. And I want to make something. I don't have to make up my mind. I can dip into this bag, and I've got some crochet labels I'll put on the bag so I remember. I'll dip into the bag and pick out something I want to make. So that was number 9. What about number 10? Here's number 10. This one is going to be a challenge. I have a pattern here. No name, no hook. I think what I'm going to have to do is what they call reverse engineer, figure out what I'm doing in the last 2 rows. I can tell that it's a 2-row repeat. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing in those 2 rows and make a note, make myself a little chart, a hand-drawn chart, and finish it. Hopefully this doesn't come up too soon. I need to have quiet summer type weather to do that. So I'm calling it 10 Blue Figure It Out. I'm only going to do a couple more because our time is getting late, but I want to do a couple where you have to give me some suggestions, and we will finish this off next week because I know I got up to number 20 and I had 21 sitting there because I have a few over there I couldn't decide about. So now we looking for number 11. All right. I really need your help with this one. I bought this yarn in the fall. I really liked it. And then later, I happened to have this. And I thought, oh, these would be great together. And I need to get the green. They're all, like this is called Fluff from EFA. Sugar Fluff Fingering. And these two are called Crushed Cashmere Lace. I wanted to make something Christmassy. See the red and green in there? And I had a pattern picked out, and I'm going to put a picture of the pattern I picked out. It's a cowl. And I thought, oh, I liked the fluffy look of it. Might have been the stitch, might have been the yarn they used. And I said, I want to make that pattern, but I'll put red and green rather than just the one color in it. And it was in a book. I saw it in Ravelry, and I went looking for it because you could not buy the pattern on Ravelry. I went looking and found the book, and it was one of those things that in Amazon you buy it from a used bookstore, and they told me it would be here end of November, early December. It didn't come. And I eventually got a refund on the book because they told me it was from Awesome Bookstore and they were out of stock. Don't have it anymore. So I can't get that pattern. I really like it. I want to do something similar to it. So I would like to know if you are familiar with a pattern. Call it number 11 when you comment about it. Number 11. Do you know of a pattern that is sort of like that? It doesn't have to look exactly like it, but is fluffy and what other word can I think of? Full. Not too hard, but would look nice with a real fluffy yarn because this will be the main color. And I want to make a nice fluffy and it doesn't have to have 3 colors in it. I mean, it can be one color. I can put stripes in it wherever I want if I can come up with a pattern. So I would love if you are familiar with a pattern that I could use that. And hopefully I'll get something made for next Christmas. And I'm going to do one more. And this is a special one. Number 12. I got this yarn as a birthday gift from Lillian. I've caked up one and I stitched a sample to see what it would look like. Now this is strictly moss stitch. And she had sent me 3 skeins. And I happen to have one skein here at home. I know she got it because it's called September Sapphire in Oasis Fingering. I love Oasis Fingering, September Sapphire. That's my birth month and birthstone. So I have lots. I could maybe make 2 good size items or 3, depending on how big they are. Oasis Fingering has 500 yards. I have 4 skeins. I would really like some suggestions. I don't want to make a blanket out of this. And I thought of making, now I got fuzz all over. I thought of making a sweater and I decided I like this yarn too much to make me a sweater that I won't be happy with. I'd be happier with a wrap, a shawl, an asymmetrical triangle, something in that nature. Something that I can wrap around myself. Maybe even a very big, tall cowl. Because I have enough, I can probably make at least 2 items, maybe 3. So we're calling this number 12. And I'm only doing 2 this week that you have to put on your thinking cap for. It's number 12, and I'm calling it Oasis Fingering Sapphire, September Sapphire, number 12. And I'm going to put it in the bag. And next week, I think we'll do the others and put them in the bag. Because most of the others that I have down, now that one I have a pattern for, but most of these others I don't have a pattern for. So I'm going to be asking for your help with all of these others. So next week we'll have to really put our thinking caps on, but I'm getting started now, and next week we will finish up, and then I will have my little bag to draw from throughout the year to do some projects. I'm really looking forward to work. I would like to get started right away at, number 1 and work right through them, but I'm excited to do any of these. I would be happy to draw any of these, but there are 2 that I need some suggestions on. And if we don't come up with a suggestion next week to put on the paper, then, I should have left them attached, didn't I? I'm going to have to look for the paper. But anyhow, we might have to wait until I draw it from the bag and pick something. But hopefully you have some ideas for me on those 2 items. And Lillian, since you gave me that beautiful yarn, maybe you have a suggestion you'd like to see me make with that yarn. So I'm going to call it there. I am longer than I usually like to be, but I knew we had a lot to cover today, a lot I wanted to share with you. So I knew we would go over a little bit, but I'm quite excited about getting to work on these projects. And you know what? Not having to think about it, just drawing from the bag and being told what to make. And I might find a little less pressure in not having to spend hours trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the yarn I have. As you can see, I have lots of yarn to work on, and we haven't even started to touch all these others, but that's what we're going to do for this coming year. And I'm pretty excited about it. Plus, I have a couple of other things I'm going to be doing that I'm excited about. I still have yarn I have received, because I will not be receiving yarn in this coming year much, but I have a little bit from Hobie. I made an order from Hobie I'll talk about next week. I have some EFA yarn and a couple others that have been sitting there for easily 6 months. So we have a little bit of acquisitions to look at in the coming year, but not a lot. But I look forward to seeing you again next week to talk about all of these projects I have in mind. So I hope to see you back next week. And until then, happy hooking.